There's nothing I hate more than scuff marks on a wall. ScuffX delivers superior scuff resistance in the most challenging, high-traffic commercial environments, thanks to its patent-pending scuff-resistant technology. Yes, there's people in a lab somewhere thinking about how to keep scuffs off walls. Where we're running around like crazy, there are actually scientists trying to figure this stuff out, and no one's done it better than ScuffX. I would not endorse this product if I didn't believe in this product. As a hotelier, it is so important to solve this problem because we spend so much money, so much time on painting hotel rooms that we finally found the solution. And I don't think anyone does it better than ScuffX. The high-performance ScuffX latex paint reduces the need for touch-ups, repaints, offers significant savings on long-term maintenance costs. And for all the information you need, go to benjaminmoore.com.
It's checking in with Anthony and Glenn, teaching you to be the hotelier that you wanna be. It's checking in with Anthony and Glenn.
Anthony!
Glenn, it is a pleasure and honor to be with you today, and you look mighty fine, and I love that color shirt, which I have no idea what color it is.
It's a little of every color. Well, mostly oranges, and I actually felt a little bit guilty wearing this shirt today because it's, we're right here in the middle of summer, and I feel that this exudes more September than it does summer.
It does a little fall, but it looks light, but it looks fally. And I will tell you, remember how I've been threatening that I'm going to get you college stays?
Yes.
Well, I got them.
Hey!
And I forgot to bring them.
Oh.
Well, actually, that's not true.
I don't even
got
think
them.
this one doesn't even
They
have
didn't
it.
arrive yet. It does. Oh, so then I have something else for you.
Oh, yeah?
If they don't have them. They have, see, look at my collar right now. What do you see?
Space for stays?
No.
I see tape.
Tape. So I have body tape
Right.
that women use to keep their boobies in their in their gowns, and I just put that on my collar and I tape it down. So look at how my collar looks.
It looks
I'm
really
wearing a golf
it looks
shirt.
really together.
It looks tight.
Right.
And yours is flying away.
Well, the other thing I could do is get an iron out occasionally.
That collar needs either stays or it needs tape.
All right. Excellent. And I'm glad we're having this visual moment here on our audio.
And it'll look
podcast.
much better.
Yeah, it will. So,
You paid $75 for that shirt?
No.
60.
I don't remember. It's really old.
50?
Probably. I don't know. I probably got it at a discount. Only recently did I start spending some more money.
Well,
on
just so you know,
shirts.
little things like collar stays, magnetic collar
Agreed.
stays, putting tape down, little things like that make a $30 shirt look like a $100 shirt.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a $100 shirt look like a $30
And this gets
shirt
us
if
back
you
to
don't do
a common theme that we had in our previous episode when we were talking about the Gurney's Hotel Impossible episode. We were talking about attention to detail, and I think that's extremely true when it comes to your sartorial choices that are out there.
I think, listen, because one little thing, like that's a nice shirt. It's not my shirt. It's not my colors. It's not a shirt I would wear, but it's a very nice shirt.
Yeah, but somehow I seem to get away with it.
It looks like you. It looks like your colors. But the collar takes away from the shirt.
It also makes me feel like I should be in Seattle in like 1993. It's that kind of
83.
Yeah.
I'd say 83.
So,
actually, more like Dirty Dancing in the 60s.
So I thought we'd try to keep this episode a little bit, compact today and try to nail down one issue in a short period of time. And I thought it would be great. Actually, you thought it would be great. I don't want to take credit for your idea to talk about resiliency and the whole notion of resiliency and how sometimes we get beaten down and sometimes feel as if we can't be out there and competing anymore. So let's talk a little bit about how you stay resilient. What does resiliency actually mean to you, and how important is it for your ability to succeed in your career?
And let's put a timer on ourselves. Let's say
All right.
we're going to do this for 20 minutes. We'll stay on one theme for this episode, but we'll do 20 minutes. So if you get bored of us talking about resiliency, be resilient.
All right.
Because we only got 20
stick
minutes.
to the end. No, we only got 17, or I should say 1657. So go for it.
So the dictionary, as I found on Google, resilience, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, the often remarkable resilience of so many British institutions, the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. So isn't that everything?
Yeah,
because when I'm sorry, I mean,
no, I was just going to say we need to be like a memory foam mattress, right?
Well, when you think about it, right, you have a child, right, and it could be our parents having us. Or I'm just talking about any child, not our child, but a human, something that's coming onto Earth. And you have all this fantasy of what they're going to do and what they're going to be and how you're going to protect them from the world, how you're going to protect them from a 9/11 event, how you're going to protect them from knowing about rape or murder or political instability, or you're going to protect them because what they're going to do, they're going to have a beautiful wedding, they're going to get a great job, they're going to be married, they're going to have a picket fence, and they're going to make a lot of money. They're going to give great-grandchildren, and we're all going to die. Or no, we're not going to die. Or if we die, we're all going to die in lilies when we're 150 years old, and it's going to be peaceful.
Right.
Has that ever happened?
Nope.
Right.
I'm sure it's happened once.
Right. So my kids got kicked about 5, 6 years old when their grandmother died, and their godfather died. And when people started dying around them, and when we got nailed by Sandy, we had to move out, and their school got closed, and and then they started reading about 9/11, and so their innocence got taken away probably 20 years before I would hope their innocence would be taken away.
Yeah.
So if you're not resilient, and we're not just talking about resilient as far as your career, but like your mindset has to be resilient. Your mindset has to expect challenges, has to expect the worst. You have to expect that bad things are going to happen. So when they happen, you're like, okay, get to how do I get over this? How do I get through this? And my daughter Mia once came home from school, and she said, Dad, I heard something that really helped me. And she said, one of my teachers said, it was right after somebody died, and maybe it was right after Sandy, and she said, we don't get over things, we get through them. And that's literally changed my daughter's perspective.
That's such a great way of looking at stuff, because you don't get over things. The older we get, the more scars we have from living. But it informs us of who we are as people and makes us better to get through other stuff in the future.
So even you, when I said that, like you're like, oh wow, that's a good way of looking at it.
It's an absolutely terrific way of looking at it. I never perceived it that way. I always looked at it as getting through this.
Right.
If I could then I'll be over it. I won't have to worry about it anymore. Right. But that's not true, because there's always some residue that follows you, either in a life lesson learned or a loss that you're never going to get over.
And what's the opposite of resiliency? Why me?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Right.
You want to see me clear out of a room? Have somebody tell a story that has why me in it. I will jump out a window. I will go through a chimney. It's like, get the frig out of my face now. I don't need to be near those people. I don't want to be in a room with those people. Why me? Why not you? Right now, as we're sitting here, there's a 5-year-old with cancer.
Right.
Right now, there's a guy somewhere in Afghanistan getting his leg, or a girl getting her leg blown off. Why me? Why not you? I ran a marathon in 1991, never ran a marathon, never really trained for a marathon. I got up one day and I said, I'm going to run a marathon. My wife said, why? I said, because if God decides to take my legs one day, I want to not sit in a wheelchair saying, oh shit, I didn't run a marathon. And then when I broke my ankle 8 months ago, and I really thought for a long time I'll be walking with a limp and never be able to run a marathon, I was like, hey man, I ran a marathon. That was kind of cool. Okay, I'll work with a limp. Whatever. I got that out of the way.
Right.
It's like you can't in any way, shape, or form go into why me, because why me gets into depression. Why me gets you in a loss for words. It gets you in a loss for focus. It's like, why not me?
Right.
Everybody is dealing with shit. Facebook life is not real. Instagram life is not real.
Right.
If you look at my Instagram world is a big part of my life. But I'm not showing you when I'm...
No, it's still a carefully curated thing to present a particular type of image.
I'm not going to show you when I'm arguing with my daughter.
Right.
I'm not going to show that. I'm not going to show, when I'm coming home from a red eye and I could barely, stay awake. I'm not, so that's a true vision of my life, but it's not all my life. And I think that resiliency is understanding that you're going to have something negatively impact you and things aren't going your way. So what?
Right.
And if you don't have those things, pushing you, and you don't have those things making you resilient, eventually when everything is great and you think there's nothing that can go wrong, boom.
Right. That's so true. Life is tough. Life is unfair. And each and every one of us, both me and you and everyone listening to the show, are freaking lucky to have what we have.
Is life unfair, or is we come into life saying, hey, we'll take the good, we don't want the bad?
Right.
When we come into life, you have to understand, and I've only learned this over a 54-year, span, that no, it's not that life is not fair.
Right.
It's life.
Right.
Like you didn't make the rules of life. It's like if you played baseball and someone hit someone in the head over and over again with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not fair.
Right.
But there's a rule against that. We know the rules. So in life, if we were going to set up the rules of life, we'd say people die.
Right.
Cancer happens.
Yep.
Crazy people get into political positions.
Yep.
We have people with the nuclear weapon that we don't trust. In Russia, in China, in North Korea. It's like, we say, well, that's not fair. The world shouldn't be that way. But the rules were written. Billy Joe, We Didn't Start the Fire, is the greatest song ever written because we didn't start the fire. It was like this since the beginning of time. So when people say life isn't fair, I don't
also a great way to
understand
learn history between the 50s and 80s.
if you really take it down and write it down, which I'm sure somebody did. But my dad died when I was 2.
Right.
That sucked.
Yeah, that's a really shitty deal.
That sucked. But when you say life is not fair, it's like, no, these are the rules, man. This shit happens.
Right. So it's a basic understanding then of knowing that shit's going to go wrong in your life, and it's how you manage it, right? Now, my wife, I love her to bits, but she spends a lot of her existence worrying about what's going to happen, and it prevents her from being fully in this moment.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't say I don't suffer from that. I do. I think a lot of us do. I think most people do. That, it's hard for me to live in the moment. We mentioned my friend Russell last time, and my wife loved him because he lived in the moment. I don't live in the moment all the time. I don't live in the moment. So I always am I'm actually thinking about ways to ensure that if bad shit happens, I'm ready for it.
Right.
So maybe that's different.
Yeah.
But I expect it to happen.
Well, but the issue is resiliency. When something bad or difficult or challenging happens to you, how do you find the inner strength to move beyond it and continue with the path that you were originally headed on?
I find myself, I never realized this before, but I find myself explaining my situation to somebody else. And about 2 minutes in, me getting the, I don't give a shit, but I'm making believe I give a shit look.
Right.
That's how I get over things. Because I'm if I have to explain it to someone, I know in 2 minutes they're not going to care.
Right.
So they don't give a shit. Even if they love me, they don't give a shit because I'll get over it, right? So that's how I deal with it. I just deal with it like no one cares.
So give me an example of a big challenge that you've been through that you had trouble but then had resiliency.
It's fantastic. And again, something I never talked about. It's when we weren't sure if Hotel Impossible was coming back.
Right.
And when people say, so is Hotel Impossible still coming back? I don't know. I'm not sure. And I remember people felt bad about that. And people almost took pity on me. And I'm like, I kept remembering to this day, 108 episodes, how lucky am I? I just wrote something, a question somebody wrote on Instagram. They asked me, is Hotel Impossible coming back? I said, no, Hotel Impossible Travel Channel is now a ghost show, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It
is what it is.
It is what it is. It's more of a
WPLJ, a big radio station in New York, is now a Spanish station.
I didn't know that.
Oh, Christian music. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a ghost show, and that's what they want. And so they still have us on Destination American because they own it, and we're on marathons, which is great. But I wish them well, and our show may get picked up again somewhere else. We're working on different types of shows. But people actually feel bad for you. And for a second, you're like, oh, my God, this really sucks. And it's like my identity from an outside perception has been so linked to that show.
Right.
But it never was what I was. It was what I did. So I wouldn't say an easy time, but I was able to say, so what?
I find that interesting because many people associate who they are with what they do. And if they're not doing that anymore, then they find less value in themselves.
It just happened the other day. There was a commissioner, not a commissioner, that's the wrong, a commander, for lack of a better word. 26 years NYPD, never married, never had kids, had an amazing pension, literally had a buyout. He was set for life, right?
Right.
Because when you get to that rank at the NYPD, you make a lot of money.
Right.
And at 63 years old, you have to retire. The day before, I think it was the day before they forced him out, he killed himself.
Right. Oh, God.
And everyone said because he couldn't face the fact without the NYPD.
I can't imagine.
Now I have a friend that's a higher up in the NYPD, and he's done everything right to set himself up for retirement, and he loves being a cop. Mm-hmm. But as soon as that button's pushed, he's on the other side, and he's already got his list of things to do, and because he has a family, he has outside interest outside the NYPD, even though he loves his job. So I think it's critical. It's absolutely critical it's what I do. It's not who I am. You know, if I had all the money in the world, my life would be similar but different.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I don't want anyone to think that it's just you have the right mindset and boom, you move forward. You know, I think any single time you have a big issue that hits you and you have to show that resiliency, I, for one, need to go into a corner and lick my wounds for a little while and feel a little bit sorry for myself.
I do it all the time.
Right? And that's normal. It's natural. It's human. And during that process, you have to grieve whatever perceived loss that you have. And then you go and you find that inner strength that is going to tell you, yes, you can. And then you could get back out there and face it.
I just had a friend was going through something, and I said, you have to release your ego, meaning release it to what it wants to be. Let it be the beast it needs to be.
Right.
And then eventually it'll be the beast it should be. And what I mean by it is, I didn't go through this specifically with the show, but like I know friends that have lost a TV show, and they're like, "Are you kidding me? That was the best thing ever happened. How could they do this to me?" Right. Remember Jay Stein?
Which Jay Stein?
He was a radio show host. He was on Taxi for a while.
Okay.
Not Jay Stein from Hotel Possible.
No, he was also, he also did Cheers.
What did I say?
You said Taxi.
I meant Cheers.
Right.
And he may have done Taxi. And I remember when he was let go from Cheers, and he said, "Don't they understand I have a family?" And then he went on to great things in the radio show.
Yeah, he was a successful DJ for a whole lot of
and
years.
He did really, really well. And he didn't say it like in a real negative, but he's like, it was like, this is a bad time, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember that like it was yesterday, because it was like, it's not their responsibility to feed your family. Like, you know, it's like it's no one's responsibility to feed my family but mine. So I'm always prepared for stuff like that, or try to be. You know, your finances may go up and down, but it's not their responsibility. So when people lose TV shows and they get all crazy and yelling and screaming, I'm like, all right, that's your ego, and that's fine. I've just already tamed that part of my ego like 6 months ago, because I fired myself from the show. The first show I got, I said, we're getting canned. Every single show, every single season, every single year, I said we're getting canned. And I said we're getting canned simply to get ready to the day we're no longer on the air. Right. So it helped me. So, but sometimes when I was laid off from Tishman, my ego got in the way for a split second. But I think you have to, it was a very good point. You have to allow it to be what it is.
Yeah, and it is what it is. And at some point in life, we're all going to get fired. At some point, we're all going to suffer consequences of other people's actions, where we might be just innocent bystanders that get affected.
You know, if you're in a car going 100 miles an hour, and all of a sudden somebody else has the wheel, right? So your career, somebody else, they gave you a job, you're getting a paycheck, but then all of a sudden they decided they're going to take their hands off the wheel because they're going to leave the car because they don't really want you anymore, and they're just going to take their hands off the wheel, not going to protect you anymore. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Panic.
No. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Grab the wheel.
Grab the wheel.
Yep.
That's resiliency.
Yeah.
Grab the wheel.
Right. Yeah. And all right, so we're 18 minutes and 5 seconds in. Not so bad there, Anthony. That doesn't include, of course, the opening theme music. So any final thoughts on resiliency?
Grab the wheel.
Yeah, just look. Accept what's happened to yourself. If you need to, take a deep breath, figure it all out, and then get the back out there.
One of the things I do at some of my speaking engagements,
Yep.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you to do something.
All right.
Raise your hand.
All right.
Raise your hand as high as you can.
I'm doing it.
Now raise your hand 2 inches higher.
I didn't do it as high as I can because I was able to do it 2 inches higher. Right.
That's the lesson.
That is the lesson. No matter, you have a greater capacity than you believe you do, right? If you push yourself, you're going to find deep within you the guts and the ability to accomplish more than you ever dreamed.
And I think also, like, if you look at kids that are brats or kids that, they're entitled, the reason they're entitled is because they have choices.
Right.
Right? They have choices. When you're kicked in the gut and you have to be resilient because choices have been taken away from you that you thought you were entitled to. Well, they're no longer yours. So now you have to grab that wheel. So it's really about choices. And, oh, my God, my choice to be on TV is now taken away from me. Oh, poor me. Like, really? How about that person that just found out that they have cancer? And do you think they give a shit about my TV show?
Right.
I mean, the thing that I really love about being noticed in airports and restaurants and people coming up and taking pictures with me is I give people a little present.
Right.
But 5 seconds later, that's over. They don't care.
Right.
And if they do care, that's a little weird. I don't want them to care. It's like, but I give them a little present. I get something out of it. They get something out of it. And then they go on about their day.
Right.
And, so I just think I look at it, whether I'm on TV tomorrow or never on TV again, that I had such an opportunity. I would not be on this podcast. I would not be traveling to Spain next week. I would not be speaking at so many conferences. I would not have another podcast. I would not have our JO Hospitality be successful it is. I would not have a revenue management company as successful as it is. I wouldn't have traveled to 48 states. I wouldn't have traveled to 50 countries. I wouldn't have met all these cultures and these people. How in God's name can I be upset with that? So you want to call that resiliency when you get canned, or you want to call that just being grateful? Call it whatever you want, but you have to grab the wheel because no one's going to grab it for you.
Right. And if you are resilient, whatever the issue was, obviously, except it was a death of a loved one or someone that you really, really cared about, you probably will bounce back. You'll probably be in a better place.
And you know what turns people on more than anything else? Seeing another person that's resilient.
Yep.
Nothing turns on the human psyche like another person being resilient. After you get over your jealousy and after you get over why not me, you're like, that person is a rock star. Holy hopping snot bat, man. They were able to get over that. They're a friggin' rock star.
Right. So put all your effort into things. Stop looking at the Instagram and the Facebook and thinking other people's lives are better. They're not. It's just a fantasy.
Well, the rocks might be.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Anthony, let's wrap this bad boy up for today. All right.
Okay.
So tell us something about you that we don't know.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to stay in the poker theme.
You're gonna what? Stay in the poker theme? Wow, it's like a whole couple of weeks here, just poker shows.
Well, again, I don't have a lot of hobbies, and poker allows me to have a hobby that I can do when I have a little time to myself. So I am going to play in the Borgata Summer Open in the next couple of weeks, and so if you see me at the Borgata in Atlantic City sitting at a poker table, give me your best shot and try to take my money.
Ooh.
Or try to take my stack.
A challenge has been issued.
Yeah. So I went from a very poor player to I would say a lower than average player, which I'm really excited about because I'm really getting good being a lower than average player. And I would say, like, if I was a student, I was an F student, and now I'm a D+ student.
Hey, congratulations!
Thank you very much.
He's really like a B+.
Tell us something we don't know.
All right, so I'll stick with the hobby theme. I don't really have a lot of hobbies. I don't really like doing much because I love my work so much. That's like my hobby and my life. But
are you serious?
I don't have a lot of hobbies.
But because you like your work so much?
No, I love my work. I just love.
Do you really love your work?
I love my career path. I feel like
I love my work too, but like they're so separate than what I like. I don't know.
No,
I don't see them as I see them so mutually exclusive.
You know how we were talking before about how you are not your work, you're something else. Well, I feel like I am my work. I am my career. I just put everything I am, my full soul into it. So I don't really find much enjoyment out of everything else because everything the hotel industry is the stuff I love. I love traveling. I love great food. I love customer service. I just love all of those kinds of things.
To me, what I love all of that more than you could ever know. And I didn't realize I needed all of that until recently. I actually need this. I actually need to travel. I actually need to do what I'm doing. it's a physical, emotional need. But it's also work.
Right. It's true. So my hobby, I've really gotten into cooking a lot more over the last few years.
That's great.
It's something that I do for my family. Hopefully every single night that I'm home, I continue to push myself. And it's my buddy's birthday this weekend, and all he wants is my famous smoked ribs that I've been perfecting over the last couple of years. And I go out to my smoker yesterday to go check to see if everything is working. Apparently, we forgot to, forgot to clean it properly the last time I made ribs in the fall or late summer or something like that.
Squirrel eating fat.
Whatever is going on in that smoker is so disgusting. I think I've got to go and buy myself a new smoker and then just hide it for my wife that I went out and bought a new smoker.
Did an animal die in your smoker?
No, but it's not pretty in there. You open it up and it just looks like a disaster that's gone in there. And I don't want to bleach everything and clean it out that way because then there'll be bleach residue.
Well, all you need to do is clean out all the crumbs and then put it on 600-700 degrees. That's what I do to my barbecue. I just did it.
Well, the smoker may not go that high.
Oh, I don't know anything about smokers.
Yeah, 'cause you got to cook it low and slow.
Yeah, I don't know anything about smokers. My next door neighbor Stu, who's a good friend of mine, he knows all about that stuff.
All right, so one day you got to come over and try my St. Louis spare ribs.
Love
there.
to.
Do a great dry rub. Sometimes we'll throw a little sauce on there. But
there's only one problem. I don't eat anything on the bone.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? You're in luck because my ribs are so awesome. It's fall off the bone good, and you won't even have to worry.
As long as I don't have to see the bone.
I'm also going to try working on a brisket this summer. So if anyone has any good,
how about pastrami? Is pastrami
yes,
hard?
but that wouldn't really be in the smoked foods category.
You wouldn't smoke pastrami?
You
That's
can. It just wouldn't. It's just not what I'm looking for.
Okay.
You know. All right. So maybe I'll make my own pastrami. Maybe I'll make my own.
Well, you know what's great about what something we don't know is everybody learns what I don't know. I don't know nothing about this world of smoking.
Well, I'm big into smoking. So if anyone has good tips on how to keep a brisket moist while smoking it, that seems to be the biggest challenge that I am facing in regards to this. And please,
I know how.
Send them in.
Go to Katz's.
Yes, but that's a different type of brisket. You're talking Jewish deli goodness. I'm talking good Southern barbecue.
Got it.
All right?
Understood.
Not grilling, real
Actually, I just
barbecue.
had good Southern barbecue in Nashville.
Yes.
Oh, I love Nashville.
I know. Nashville's great. Well, we got to get there. Anthony.
Tootsie's in Nashville.
All right.
To Tootsie's.
Yeah, I've been there. I'm a big Peg Leg Porker fan myself, and the guy who owns Peg Leg Porker actually is overweight and has one leg.
Thus, Peg Leg Porker.
Yes, exactly. All right, Anthony, I can't believe we were so economic in time on this particular podcast. How can we find you?
Anywhere you want to be on the internet, Anthony Hotels.
Excellent. And I am at Traveling Glenn. It has been an absolute pleasure being here for you guys. Now, hey, please give us that 5-star rating on iTunes. It really does help us. It helps people find us, and it helps us expand our influence out there and get those advertisers that are going to be able to keep us supporting the show so we can bring you great content each and every single week.
And if you think we suck,
in.
tell us to we'll get better.
Yeah, but don't give us a 1-star review.
That would kill us.
Just send us a note at Traveling Glenn or at Anthony Hotels, and we'll address your concerns in private. And honestly, a couple of you folks have written out about some issues that you've had, ways that you thought we could change up the show, and we've listened and we've tried to adapt. This is a living, breathing organism that we have here, and just because something you may not dig doesn't mean it's going to be permanent. Give us your suggestions because we're just trying to be pioneers out here, and if you got great ideas, we are open to them. All right, let's wrap this up. So, for Anthony and myself, Glenn, thanks for checking in.
It's checking in with Anthony and Glenn, teaching you to be the hotelier that you wanna be. It's checking in with Anthony